Microsoft Build is coming to SF. GitHub Mobile lets you create repos from anywhere, a developer is poking at a tiny React-compatible future, and Keychron just open-sourced a treasure trove. All that and more on this episode of The Download. We're back! Welcome back to another episode of The Download, the show where we cover the latest developer news and open-source projects. And please like and subscribe. I'm Cassidy, and I'm on the developer advocacy team here at GitHub. Now let's get into it. Microsoft Build 2026 is happening June 2nd through 3rd at Fort Mason in San Francisco, and GitHub will be right in the middle of it. The event is focused on real code, real systems, and real workflows, especially around teams building and scaling AI. GitHub will be participating across the whole event, so expect plenty of practical demos and chances to talk to the folks building the tools that many developers use every single day. Bring comfy shoes, a laptop, and your burning questions. Also, I myself will be speaking there, so if you're attending, let's high-five in person. GitHub Mobile just got a very handy upgrade. You can now create new repositories directly from the app on both iOS and Android. When you're creating a repo, you can do all the things you'd expect, like picking an account, setting it to public or private, optionally selecting a template, and so on. This is a small feature, but so convenient. With so many of us pumping out side projects in this AI era, you can now make that new repo and start pushing from wherever you think of your next big thing. Now for the extra crunchy front-end story of the week. Tanner Linsley wrote about an experiment called Redact, which is a React-compatible runtime projection built around specific needs. When I say projection, I mean like a custom-shaped version of something bigger. For example, if you had a giant toolbox but your user only needed a hammer and a screwdriver, you could give the user just that hammer and screwdriver and not the entire toolbox. That's a projection. Now, Tanner started this project because React is big. It is a very big, powerful toolbox, and it felt disproportionately large to what he needed, and he thought, what if React's public API could be treated as the base, and the implementation could be a new projection of that API for a very narrow set of needs. Tanner's experiment treats React less like a single sacred implementation and more like a well-known contract. The contract is that developers can write against components, JSX, hooks, and hydration, and so on, the things they know, and the projection keeps that contract but creates a smaller implementation underneath it, tailored to what he needs. Now, he's not shipping that project to the world and doesn't want it to be a React alternative. The story behind this is particularly cool in that AI has made it faster and easier than ever to ship specialized implementations of things. The economics of these implementations is changing. If creating a tailored projection of a major dependency takes days instead of months, then shipping the full default library is now a trade-off that we can more easily grapple with. And, let's be honest, front-end discourse has been pretty quiet for almost 3 whole minutes, so it was probably time for someone to say, what if React, but tiny and AI-shaped? Very normal, very calm, nothing to see here. Now, for hardware hackers and keyboard modders, this one is really exciting. Keychron has released a new open source project containing industrial design files for its keyboards and mice. The repo contains CAD assets for more than 100 models for different products. This opens the door for people to study real industrial design files, inspect dimensions, understand structure and component integration, create compatible cases, community mods, add-ons. I'm so excited. This is one of those releases that makes a very specific group of people immediately start measuring desk space and pretending they're not about to order more switches. And that's all for now. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on any of the topics we discussed this week. If you liked this episode, please give it a thumbs up to serve the algorithm gods, and subscribe to GitHub's YouTube channel for all of your nerdy needs. See you next week, and may your bundles be small, your repos initialized, and your keyboard layout mildly controversial. Okay, see you later. Bye!